Ready? Live.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Miami View Women. My name is Irela Bague, and I am your co-hostess. And together with me, I want to introduce someone who's been our guest in the past, but is now an official co-hostess along with me. And we want to congratulate Miriam Dorset, who was my previous co-hostess, who is now our executive producer. She got a promotion, and we're so excited today because we're going to talk about women who win, and who better than Luisa Santos, but I'm going to hand it over to Carolina so you can make the introduction.
Thank you so much, Irela, and I'm so proud and so happy to be here as a co-host with you. I don't think I can smile any bigger. It's like my cheeks are, I'm smiling so big, and it's just coming so organically for me because I do admire you and Miriam and the show. So thank you so much for the opportunity and the platform. And Luisa Santos, to me, has been an inspiration. I've been following Luisa for a year and a half now, ever since she said she was going to be a candidate to run for Miami-Dade County School Board, District 9. And I've been wanting her to win for a year and a half. So it is just amazing to have you on the show. You are Colombiana de Bogota, just like me. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I immigrated here when I was 6. I know you immigrated here when you were 8. I'm just so honored to have you here today with us because we want to learn so much about you and your journey, and congratulate you on your historic win as one of the first Colombian Americans to serve on the Miami-Dade County School Board, District 9. I'm not sure if you're also one of the youngest.
I believe I'm the youngest, actually.
Congratulations. This is what we call Chica Power.
Absolutely.
Well, Luisa, congratulations. And I just want to start with the beginning. What was your inspiration to run for school board in particular?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you so much. Congratulations on the new co-host, Irela and Carolina. I can tell you're going to do some amazing things together. And I'm grateful that you have this space for conversations amongst women to happen. I know that there are many women mentors in my life who I look up to and who have guided me to be able to accomplish anything I've done in the past. So I'm excited that this place exists. And the real why I decided to run for school board is having been an undocumented student in our classrooms, having been an English language learner student, a student who depended on school for lunch at some point, a student who had immigrant parents, and seeing so many of the needs that weren't met by our schools, while also watching the trajectory of how far we've come and how much we have left to do within our school system to provide an equitable and excellent education to every child in every corner of this diverse and large county. I realized I had something to contribute. And I realized that by going to school board meetings for the last 3 years, watching and understanding that the experiences I've had, of course, as a student, but also having worked with fourth graders as an assistant fourth grade teacher, running a third grade literacy program, and even in the undersecretary of education of the Department of Education, learning about policy and being an entrepreneur. Those were all experiences I could bring to the table and really serve. That was the number one core driver, was serve our community. And it was an uphill battle. I'm sure we can talk a little more about that. But staying true to the belief of what is possible in our schools really drove what we were able to build as a movement through this campaign.
I love it. And I can feel your passion. And you mentioned entrepreneur. Talk to me about your business.
Yes,
I love that. This show just, women who serve, women who promote themselves, and we want to also promote business women on this show.
Yes. Absolutely. We know the odds are stacked against women in today's world to be successful entrepreneurs. So we continue to do work and advance in making sure that opportunity exists for both men and women. And my business is Lulu's Ice Cream. I started this nitrogen ice cream company. I have a shop on 20th and Biscayne in downtown Miami, but more importantly, a catering company that catered from New York to the Florida Keys. And of course, that's fully on pause right now because of COVID. But from day one, I've hired high school and college students and have been able to create a financial literacy program for those students out of an ice cream shop of all things, and college advising. So at this point, we have 3 students who have gone through kind of my program at the shop and are on full rides as first in their families to attend college from low-income backgrounds at Georgetown University. So if we can do that out of an ice cream company, imagine what we're going to be able to do out of Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
Amazing, amazing. You're blowing me away. I love it.
And that is one of the most inspiring things for me that I see in you is that you're such a mentor and such an advocate for students, right? So you were a teacher for 4th graders. And then you were also, you started an advocacy literacy program for underserved 3rd graders. And now you're mentoring kids and high school kids with your business. I mean, that's just so impressive for me. And I'm sure that on the other side of that, I'm thinking they also motivate you and inspire you. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
And push me. This is so true. Specifically through the campaign, I decided I was going to create a fellowship. And so I had a student fellowship and a teacher fellowship. And we ended up having about 40 students, high school and college. And because of COVID, we were able to open up a remote fellowship. So we had people who were in other states, even mostly local though. And these group of 40 students and 10 teachers were the people who were vetting every policy we suggested. They were vetting and creating our website, our social media. I mean, we really did things a little bit differently than people are used to seeing for local campaigns. And that was thanks to just listening to students, listening to teachers, and letting them run with their ideas through the campaign. And now we just did a resume session where we got an expert to come train them on how to add the experience to their resume. I just finished one-on-one check-ins with all of our fellows over the last 2 weekends, and really thinking about, well, what are the next steps we can coach you out of this campaign and into your next big step. And we're already seeing even mentors within the program arise, and college students mentoring the high school students. It's really magical to see what was built there.
That's amazing. I'm like so impressed with you right now. Let's pivot over to the school board and the situation that we have right now. Obviously, we're in a pandemic. You're stepping into, a very different school system than we had just less than a year ago. So talk to me about some of the challenges and then opportunities that you feel, coming in as a school board member, you would like to change, you would like to, improve.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously one of the biggest challenges and more immediate challenges is keeping our staff, our students, our families safe as our schools reopen. We know we have 548 confirmed cases within our system. That's a large figure, and cases are rising. And so making sure that the data we have is accurate and timely is a huge part of what I'm looking to do, because we've learned of cases where we know a school has a case, but it's not really reported officially on a dashboard till maybe a week later. That's a huge challenge for families who are and teachers who are trying to understand how safe the situation they're walking into is or isn't. Ensuring that we don't get punished by the state by way of funding if cases continue to rise and we have to continue some form of online school, ensuring that we get the funding for those students who remain online. And then with a wider lens, really ensuring what I ran on, that we have equity and excellence in our schools. And what does that look like? Well, providing mental health resources to both our teachers and our students as they navigate coming back to the classroom, ensuring that we don't have the 462 student to one counselor ratio that currently exists, and ensuring that our digital learning environment is accessible. Today, the equivalent of not having a working device or internet is like we're shutting the door on you and you can't come into school. And that is currently a challenge for our students. And so ensuring that we have appropriate devices, we invest in our digital infrastructure so people can actually access high quality learning online and in person. And the opportunity that exists out of this very dark moment we're going through is we have permission and a much greater buy-in from staff, from students, from families to innovate. And so what are we going to do with that space and that permission almost that this forced online learning has given to ensure that we continue to serve students and they can graduate and thrive in the 21st century, which we haven't really done a good job of keeping up with.
Well, and I think that's why your campaign was so impressive, right? It's this forward-thinking, innovative, fresh look into what public schools should be. And you are a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So the fact that now you are leading, you are at the forefront of change is monumental, I think, for our students and for our communities. I wanted to ask you too, as a candidate now, because you're a tremendous educator and mentor and leader, as a candidate, what were your challenges in the campaign? You know, what did you see that could change or that you could have done better? Or, you know, you were an underdog. Let's be honest. You were an underdog. I was rooting for you, but many were not. And I want to know more about that journey.
Absolutely. You know, like everything that I've done in my life, whether it was going to college when I was undocumented, starting a business in my 20s, I've always done courageous things that don't really fit the mold of what is supposed to be appropriate for a young woman my age, right? And finding courage and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable has served me really well, and something I try to teach a lot of young women and men in my life. And so entering the race, you are correct. Many thought what I was trying to do was impossible. They really, I think their minds had not even considered that a school board member could be different. Can you hear me? I think my video is going out.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay, let's see.
Oop, I think
we lost her.
No, she'll get back in. She'll get back on. She'll get back on.
There she is.
There she is.
There we go.
Yay, we got her back.
Okay, sorry about that. I lost it for a second.
It's our new normal.
Yeah, so basically, so I was saying essentially, I think people just weren't, they had a mold for what they thought a school board member looked like and should be. And we challenged that. And we challenged it because we said, why shouldn't the people that we are serving be represented? And why can't that look differently? And it was, of course, not great when we would ask for support of some of the more traditional organizations that get involved and not receiving it. But obviously, continuing to trust our gut, think from a place that was solutions oriented, vision oriented, and involve the people who are affected by the decisions. And that obviously proved to be a winning formula, not an easy formula, I'll tell you that. We certainly put in tremendous amounts of strategic work and thinking, but we built through the fellowships and through our volunteer organization that we built very quickly, volume and a movement. And really, once people are inspired and they are bought into what the vision that they really deserve for themselves and for their schools, they're unstoppable. And so we planted the seeds and then watched people show up and show out. And it helped us be someone who had been in politics for 28 years with tremendous name recognition, almost more than double the money I had. But but organized people can certainly do a lot of seemingly impossible things. And that was a bit of the journey in the campaign.
Well, clearly you've proven that. I love what you said about being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And I'm going to kind of piggyback on the question that Carolina was asking you in the terms of women helping women. I ran for office for State House many, many years ago. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you that even back then, it was very difficult to get women to write the checks.
Yeah.
Okay. Men know that that's the best way to, get notice, get access, get in front of the candidate. So did you feel like you were, because I'm curious, because this was like decades ago when I ran. So do you feel that you got a significant amount of support from women, or do you still think that there's a gap that we need to fill?
Yeah, well, I certainly did get support from many strong women who were out there, like Carolina, who believed in me and stood by me before it looked like a good thing to do, and who. And there are organizations, of course, like Rootless Florida and Rootless Miami, who have been helpful in bringing more women into the fold and understanding how important it is to give. But also we face the systemic inequities that have existed for so long. And so it was harder to find women who are known for giving politically. Trust me, I found the ones that are, and they gave, and it was beautiful to have women mentors along the way. But there was obviously discrepancies in just the number of men I had to call versus the number of women that fit the criteria for who I was calling for money. So one of the things that I feel is my responsibility and will continue to do is to now continue to coach, mentor, and show everyone who was involved in my campaign and otherwise how important it is to give, how important it is to open up our wallets and invest in the future we want for our communities.
Well, I mean, I would say we get what we pay for.
Yeah.
How important services, right? So the painting behind me, and I'm going to do this on every show, Irela.
Okay.
A featured painting of my daughters. The pandemic really inspired her, the lockdown in March, to create and start painting. And so she's now created 30 paintings. And I do believe that as you being a millennial, you being a mentor, you being a leader, you're a perfect example of what our children can look up to and really strive to be. And so I do feel that your campaign was filled with enthusiasm and young, fresh students and all the kids that you mentored and their families. And you created that with who you are as a person. So I thank you just because you are a mentor that my daughter can also look up to. And I'm just so honored that you're here, that you are a candidate, that you ran and you won and you persevered. Just needed to mention that.
That's amazing. Thank you. Seeing pictures of your daughter gives me a lot of life. I've seen some of the other paintings you've posted and they're gorgeous. It's amazing.
No, and she's like a Carolina in progress. Okay?
Well, she's 11 and she's advocating to go vote and to vote for this new generation. And I do, have so much hope because of my daughter who's 11 and is Gen Z, and Luisa Santos who's a millennial and is winning and persevering and is innovative. So I'm very hopeful for our generation.
I gotta tell you, Luisa, that I love your logo, pa arriba.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's this. Yeah, I don't know. Right. The camera's off. it's pa arriba.
Yes. Yes, certainly wanted to demonstrate that we can go very far from here, and we have to have the vision and head in that direction and believe that it's possible. I really think that our nation was so challenged in the last few years in feeling helpless and losing hope. And it was beautiful to be able to, for myself too, work with all these students and regain hope and know that we can build differently and we can do better. And we are. And now the real work begins.
Agreed. And I'm curious to know, well, what would you say to someone who's considering, especially a young woman who's considering seeking office? Just some tips, some words of wisdom, because we do want to continue to inspire young people to run for office and not be afraid that, oh, it's impossible. I can't raise the money. Who's gonna support me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, lots of tips. Talk to me because I want to guide you through it. But I guess if I had to distill it into overarching tips, really, one, get involved in a campaign because you learn so much about what it actually takes to win or to make it through. That being involved in taking a leadership role as a volunteer or even as a job, there are jobs on campaigns. It is very helpful to go to all the trainings that are available through so many different organizations. There's a website called runforwhat.net, I think, a great resource for young people interested in figuring out what they want to run for and why. And then really don't let imposter syndrome get in the way. Once you've done the research, you've done the homework, and you know that this is a place where you can serve, you know the math of what it's going to take, how much money you're going to have to raise, then it's just a matter of how hard you're willing to work. And there are people and organizations who want to help you get there, but you've got to be willing to step up and step in, and it takes lots of courage, and that's the part that we all have to figure out for ourselves, so we can then ask for the help that we need to win and to make the change that we want to see possible.
And yeah, you make such an important point, which is volunteering, becoming engaged, and that really is, such an important product. In our community, right? So it falls on all of us. And with that, I have a high school friend who right now is an educator, who is 17 years a teacher in the public school system, and she needs our help. Her name is Jennifer Perez. She was just diagnosed with cancer. She has 2 brain tumors, a tumor in her breast, a tumor in her lung. And we're raising funds here live on the show because we're honoring her, we're helping her. She's changed the lives as an educator of all of her kids. She's a single mom of 5 children, one of who is twins. And here we are. I mean, this is why I'm so happy and proud to be here with Irela Bague, because it's a platform to not just honor and invite amazing women and leaders like yourself, but also to help our community and volunteer and donate and be engaged and give back. So I'd like to ask everyone to please help my friend Jennifer Perez. I'm a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools. I went to high school with her in Miami Coral Park Senior High School, and now she needs our help. Anything helps, from 5, 20, 50, anything helps. So I appreciate that. But we need to give back and volunteer and be engaged.
Thank you, Carolina. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? Miami View Women. It's a show by women for women. And it's just all about supporting each other and helping each other up. Pa arriba y pa adelante.
Me encanta eso.
And I want to give a shout out to Miriam Dorset, our now executive producer. She also has an amazing show called Race to the Top with our friends over at Community Newspapers. And so you may want to tune into that show as well, because she's also interviewing amazing folks across all spectrums and diversities. And so that's also something that we're very proud of her that she's doing. And just lastly, Again, this is a show for you all. So if you feel that you have something to share, you want to be featured, this is a great platform for you. Reach out to us. So with that,
Thank you.
I want to thank
so
Luisa.
much.
You're an inspiration. I want to wish you as much luck as possible. It's it's always hard to get policy passed. I know I do this all the time, and but you have the courage, and you definitely have the smarts, and we're very proud of you. Definitely, you'll be very successful, and who knows, we might see you in higher offices in the future.
Thank you for having me. It's great, and I was processing my donation, so please go give. It's important that we show up for each other.
Thank you.
GoFundMe, Jennifer Perez. Let's help each other out. Let's help las hermanas ayudándonos.
Exacto. Chica power.
Chica
Thank
power.
you so much, Luisa, for being here. You're an inspiration. Thank you. And thank you, Irela, for having me. This is dream come true.
Yay. Well, till next time. Thank you, everybody. Miami View Women. Follow us on Facebook.